So today I'm going to be discussing Remind 101. We've been using Remind 101 for a while, but I think it's important to think of different ways to use the program to really benefit your teaching. There's a lot of pluses to using it. Number one, you can reach parents one-on-one and have those conversations, not only in English, but if you do have parents from another country, you can change the language. So that's number one. Number two, you can individually set up your Google Meets, which is really nice. And Sign Up Genius is also something that's integrating. And for those students who are at home and really are relying on their phones, you can actually schedule to have your Kahoot or Newsela or your screencast, Flipgrid, all of that stuff can actually be attached to the Remind app. So if they're having trouble and need to not be on their Chromebook to access these things, they can. And I'm going to show you how to do some of these things now. So we're going to log in. I don't want to take too much time here going over a lot of the basics, but I think some people don't really know how to really manage the program. When you go into the settings at the very beginning here, it basically tells you if there's going to be class visitability or not, who the owners are. And this is important. At the end of the year, you're going to want to make sure that you are archiving your classes. You can also reuse a class code. I would suggest doing this at the end of every year. You can also set up your Remind 101 and add your phone number. This is a really great way to make sure you can call a parent in a safe environment. So if you want to not have your own cell phone used, I would suggest adding your phone number here. This is the people that you have. You can actually add people at any time by clicking on the Add People link. And on here, you can actually add the student name, the phone or email or secondary, but you could also separate it out by parents. So you could do the parent name, phone, or secondary email. Your other options, you could do a printable PDF. You can do some in-person instructions, or you literally can just share the link right here, copy the link, and email it directly to that person that you want to meet with. So I think that that's a really simple, easy way to do that. Next, if I go back in, I'm actually going to close this out here. I'm going to log in one more time. So adding a class is simple. You just click on the plus and you can add that class. But I also want to talk to you about the account settings here. So when you go into account settings, you're going to look here. There's notification preferences. Tells you exactly where you would want to have those devices added. And this is really, really important. All of these apps are integrated into Remind 101, which means I can share my classroom, my Drive, Meet. I can add my Sign Up Genius there. And these are other available apps that if you have accounts for these, you can add them. So if you are going to be doing SurveyMonkey and you have an account that you're dealing with, you can add them. Now, as for other integrations that may not be listed on here, and I'll show you these in a moment, you can share your Kahoot link, PBS, Newsela, Screencastify, or Flipgrid onto your Remind. And that is just another powerful way for those students to interact with you on their phone or on a Remind 101 through their Chromebook rather than through Google Classroom. And it's actually really easy to use. I'll show you that in a moment too. So these are you also have your message history. So if you need to look back, you can actually export a report that'll talk to you about what kind of correspondence or other things you had with parents as well, which is really a cool feature. Another thing I love about Remind 101 is the ability to have conversations. If you want to have a conversation here with multiple students, you can literally have a group conversation. Like I have one right here. I don't want to name all the names on here, but I can literally set up a group conversation. I think that's really cool. So I can add people to my group conversation, and it's pretty straightforward. So if I go like this into my leadership team, I have a conversation here already going. I can literally search for people and add them into a conversation with everybody. And it says conversations. And it says chat with that person. So if I want to chat with a teacher or multiple people and have a group conversation, I can. It acts actually like a WhatsApp, and I think that that's really a cool way to do that. So let me show you the other cool features here. So if I'm going to be creating my message and I decide that I'm going to create a new conversation, I do that right here. Again, I can add up to 9 people in a conversation. Okay. I'm not going to do this right now, but again, this is the whole listing here. So I want to show you this. 9 people. And what's cool is it's in real time. Okay. So the other thing we're going to do is I'm going to do a message now just to show you. So if I was going to have my test thing, I want to continue. And I start typing my message. Right here is where you add the content. So if I click right here, I can now add immediately a Google Meet. And that's all it is. It's been created by Remind. Here's my Google Meet link, and I could literally send it right away. I can also translate something. So let's just say I was doing a Google Meet with a parent. I could say, hello, please click the link to meet with me. And I click here to translate. I can now translate this into any language that I like. And so for today's lesson, I'm just going to do this as Bengali. And as you can see, it's translated. Again, I could change the language at any time. If I want to change it again, it'll change it again. And then I can just schedule the message for any time that I want to send it. So if I don't want to send it now and I want to send it later, I can. And now, if I'm doing this with a parent, I could select the parent, select the invitation, do the Google meeting, boom, send it right to the phone. So I wanted to show you these quick features. Hopefully you find them helpful. And I was going to mention one other thing. So let's just say I want to do a Flipgrid. And I'm going to add that to my Remind101. So when I go in and I sign in, you could create your Flipgrid here. Here's mine. I can share my Flipgrid with Remind101. And now there's my Flipgrid, and I can share that out with students. It's as easy as that. So if you're doing something, as I mentioned, I'm going to type them in here so you see. These are the ones that you can add. So it's Kahoot, PBS, Newsella, Screencastify, Flipgrid, Duolingo, and Quizlet. That's a lot to be able to add and have your students get to them right on their phone. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know.